Boredom and restlessness are some of the most misunderstood reasons we overeat. We tell ourselves we're bored, but often what's really happening is that we're avoiding something: desire, growth, pride, even happiness. Today, we're going to unpack what boredom is actually protecting you from, why food becomes the default solution, and how to create a simple boredom protocol that doesn't rely on self-control or shame. My name is Dara Thomason, and this is Love Yourself episode 240, Emotional Eating. What do you do when you're bored or restless? When was the last time you said, "I'm bored," and then found yourself eating? Today, I'm going to challenge you on what boredom really means and what it might be protecting you from. So let's first look at the definition of bored and restless. Sometimes it's good just to have a point of reference. So bored means feeling weary because something is uninteresting or repetitive, a lack of stimulation. Think about your life. What are things that you do that make you feel weary because it's uninteresting or repetitive, and then there's a lack of stimulation? Doing the dishes, for me, isn't boring because I like the effect of it, right? So think about in your life, what are things that are boring? Feeling weary because something is uninteresting or repetitive, a lack of stimulation. If there's something in your brain, keep it there. The next one is restless, unable to rest or relax, feeling of wanting to do something but not knowing what. How often do you feel restless? And what do you do when you're restless? Think about why you're unable to relax and that uncomfortable feeling of not knowing what to do next. Now that we have the definitions and you have some ideas in your head of real life scenarios where you fall prey into these situations, I want you to ask yourself the real question. Why do you let yourself believe you are bored? Here's the truth. You're not bored. You're avoiding something. I actually say this all the time to my clients. I don't believe you're bored. I believe that you're using bored. You can be bored. Obviously, you can have a feeling of weary because something is uninteresting or repetitive and lack of stimulation. Yeah. My question is, why are you letting yourself be bored? What is the point, especially when you use bored to sabotage yourself, to go and eat something or scroll or watch TV that now just feeds that unhealthy dopamine circuit? Let's ask this question again. You're not bored, you're avoiding something. So what this pattern is keeping you away from? Happiness? What if you pursued what you really wanted? Success? What if you actually finished that quilt and entered the show? Feeling proud? What if you achieved something and had to own it? Confidence? What if you believed in yourself? Connection? What if you put yourself out there? So the core issue here is worthiness. Do you feel like you're worth feeling good about yourself? Here's what I know. Your worth is impenetrable. It's untouchable. You were born worthy, and nothing you do or don't do changes that. I want you to think about a brand new baby. That baby hasn't accomplished anything, hasn't proven anything, but you would never look at that baby and say, you need to prove your worth. You are already worthy. You don't need to prove it. You're operating out of a false premise that you have to earn something that you already have. When you believe you're not worthy, you keep yourself small instead of pursuing what lights you up. You eat to numb the restlessness that's actually calling you towards something more. I want to help you create what I call the bored eating protocol. What are you going to do when you find yourself falling back into that trap? Name it. Say, oh, I'm telling myself I'm bored. Then question it. Am I actually bored? Or am I avoiding something? And go back to the definition of bored, which is feeling weary because something is uninteresting or repetitive, a lack of stimulation. Ask yourself, is that what's happening? Then identify what you're avoiding. what would I do right now if I believed I was worthy? That I don't have to prove myself to anyone. I don't have to show anyone anything. And then take one small action toward the thing, not the whole project, just one stitch, one phone call, one sentence. And then after that, we're just going to notice. How does it feel to move toward what you actually want instead of away from it? I keep going back to this definition of bored because I really want to help you build your emotional intelligence. As we look on the emotion wheel, bored falls under bad. So when people say, how are you feeling? You're like, I feel bad. Well, we can go into bored, busy, stressed, or tired. So we're going to go to bored. And then the spoke for bored is indifferent or apathetic. When you say you're bored, you're being indifferent or apathetic. Just keep that in mind. And you go to feeling weary because something is uninteresting or repetitive, a lack of stimulation. So I want to tell you a story about when I was a little girl. My grandma died when I was 7. She would make homemade root beer. She'd put the popcorn maker. She had an air popcorn maker and she'd put it in the middle of the room, take the lid off and turn it on. The game was that you had to make sure that no popcorn hit the floor. But as you know, with popcorn, it builds momentum. Next thing, there's popcorn going everywhere and we're going crazy. So we go to my grandma's for Christmas. My cousins are all there. So many people. And of course, there's aunties and uncles. It was wonderful. And there was no way that my grandma would ever serve a full Christmas dinner on paper plates. I remember walking into her kitchen and I thought, oh, my poor grandma, she has so many dishes to do. I walked into her kitchen and she is laughing and having a ball. There's a mountain of dishes and it doesn't faze her at all. I was 6 years old. I thought to myself, she's not bored. Doing dishes is boring. Then I realized you can take any job, any task, and decide if it's going to be awesome or not. This experience changed me. I've never been bored in my life because I made that decision. I think about the women I work with and how weary they feel because they have tried valiantly to lose weight. They have put in so much money and effort and emotion, all of that, because they want to live that healthy life. And one of the saddest things about my grandma is that she didn't take care of her health. She had Coke every day. She said it was her medicine. She had a lot of stress. She was overweight for most of her life and had a heart attack at 64. She didn't have the tools to deal with stress. She was an excellent cook, an incredible baker, and that's where she turned. I would like to encourage all of you, stop beating yourself up for past diet failures. Think about what is keeping you at this weight. What are the reasons you keep turning to food when you know that food is not the solution? Yes, food does solve problems. Food solves nutrition and energy. But food will never help you when you feel discouraged. It will never help you when you feel hopeless. No amount of candy, chocolate, or homemade cinnamon buns are ever going to help you resolve those issues. This month of February, we're really working on improving our emotional intelligence. I'm letting myself feel all the feelings because I see so many of my clients who have had success. They are finally willing and able to face what's really going on. I have a lot of sadness for the women that keep beating themselves up and feeling trapped in their own body. I think about my grandma and the struggles she had. Her mom had a stroke when my grandma was 3. She had 6 sisters and 1 brother. My grandma had a lot of responsibilities. She didn't have the easiest life. This is my wish for everyone, is that you finally learn what is really required for weight loss. We have to be willing to feel our feelings. We have to improve our emotional intelligence. Instead of saying, I'm bored, you can say, I'm unsatisfied. I'm unhappy. I'm confused. I'm directionless. I'm uncertain of my next step. I have incredible tools. And it truly is one of the most humbling experiences in my life to help women walk through this emotional journey of weight loss. I want to invite you to take the next step. Some of us are ready to yep, I'm doing it. I'm going to join that program she keeps talking about and sharing all those great testimonials of all these women that she helps. And I would love you to join us. Or you can take my emotional eating class and join us for office hours and really get that help, get those foundational tools. That's the offer. It's less of a cost, but it's huge gains. Or you can book a 20-minute call. I was speaking to a lady who found me on YouTube and took advantage of one of my free consults. She got so much help in that time. It's just in 20 minutes. She was able to see some of those things that are blocking her. Take a step. I'm thrilled that you're here, and I want to keep helping you feel your feelings so you don't have to eat them and you don't have to shop them or waste so much time and energy. If boredom eating has been this pattern for you, it doesn't mean you lack motivation. It usually means you were taught that feeling good had to be earned or that wanting more wasn't safe. In the emotional eating class, we work on untangling those beliefs and building confidence, boundaries, and trust so that food doesn't have to be the distraction or your reward. This work isn't about eating less. It's about living more without feeling like you have to prove your worth first. If that resonates, you can learn more and join us through that link below. I'm going to talk to you, and I'll see you next week, where we're going to talk about what do you do when you don't even know why you ate.